They must not be happy. Just because someone chooses to not do what everyone else is doing is not a reason for you to draw negative conclusions. If you have to make up false narratives about other people just to make yourself feel better that they choose to live life differently, that says everything about you, not them. Maybe it's not your experience. Doesn't make it less real for other people. I've always found it fascinating to observe what people say and how they behave. Offhand comments, especially the ones delivered with confidence and very little thought, are often the most revealing. Such as this one. Only bitter, single, and unhappy couples complain about Valentine's Day. These days, I get a kick out of watching someone attempt to diminish another person, unaware that to some of us, they are not exposing the other person at all. They are exposing themselves. Plus, it makes for great educational material to write about or discuss. I've heard this remark repeatedly over the years, and while no one has said it to me directly, I've heard versions of it often enough in response to whenever someone casually admits they don't care for the holiday, as if disliking a commercial celebration of romance must automatically signal personal failure, resentment, or relationship dissatisfaction. In reality, it suggests a narrow view of relationships. One where happiness is measured by participation in public rituals. It implies that content people must express their fulfillment in socially approved ways, and it reduces a nuanced and personal preference to a psychological flaw. Not enjoying Valentine's Day can mean many things. It can reflect a dislike of commercialized traditions. It can stem from a belief that affection should not be concentrated into a single date on the calendar. It can simply mean someone does not find appeal or meaning in it. Not everyone measures their happiness by participation in a holiday or in what everyone else is doing. Not everyone needs a cultural cue to validate relationship status or their worth. Assuming that disinterest equals bitterness is not insight. Offhand remarks are small windows into how a person interprets the world in binaries, in assumptions, in defensiveness, and that, to me, is far more interesting than whether someone buys roses on February 14th. It's easy to think of a happy, healthy couple celebrating Valentine's Day, but let's chat about 3 other very real realities. Hi, my name is Joannis, and tune in for more on YouTube at La Peachy Rebel. When someone rushes to label critics as bitter or unhappy, it carries that familiar undertone of, well, something must be wrong with them because they're not doing what everyone else is doing. Now, pause for a second. That is the logic? That's amusing, because some people, in fact, see the unquestioned conformity as far more concerning than the deviation. Is individuality now evidence of deficiency? If you are not following the crowd, conforming and celebrating on command, you must be malfunctioning. It's true, there is a difference between independent thought and following a generic script. I can assure you, it's likely not what you think. Secure people do not need to invent flaws in others to protect their own choices. If someone else's version of happiness irritates you, it might be worth asking why. Projection is not perception. Some people simply refuse to live on autopilot, and some are conditioned to equate participation with fulfillment. Because if you celebrate it, you must be happy. If you question it, you must be lacking. That logic is shallow and shows limited thinking. Choosing differently does not mean something is missing. Sometimes it means nothing is missing at all. And listen, yes, both realities exist. In fact, there's a third reality. Some people are resentful about being single or being in an unhealthy relationship, and they are in denial about the fact that they do value this day and wish that it could go the way that they dream of. And then some people genuinely have zero interest in Valentine's Day and are completely content with that. It's an intentional preference. And the third reality, which is very prevalent, is that some people who do celebrate are in fact in toxic, miserable partnerships and or just going through the motions, because if they screw up this holiday, it will just mean arguing all day, maybe even the next day, or a cold shoulder all week. Now listen, some people struggle to sit with the discomfort of realizing that when someone sees that you can opt out of something they have always participated in and still be happy, maybe even happier, it challenges their framework. It forces them to confront the possibility that what they have been doing out of habit, pressure, or expectation is not a universal truth. And that, for some people, can feel threatening. It may even feel offensive to some. How dare you not celebrate what we celebrate and still be fulfilled? How dare you reject the script and still thrive? Happiness is not a group activity that requires unanimous participation. Fulfillment does not require conformity. Not everyone who questions something is wounded. Some people are simply self-aware enough to think for themselves and secure enough to live differently without needing permission or approval.